Okay, the first thing we need to do is open up our bag and take out our mini personal fan. This is what we're going to use to get the motor and the battery pack holder for our art robot. So open that up. You're going to notice, here's your on-off switch. When we take this apart, this is actually going to pop out and you can kind of see how it works, which is pretty fun. We're going to try to keep this intact as much as possible because we're going to use as many of the parts as we can. So each of your tables has a few screwdrivers. If you take a screwdriver, on the back of the fan there's a screw in here, and this is what holds the entire thing together. So you are going to unscrew this and hopefully it'll cooperate with me. If you're having a little trouble, you might need a friend to hold it while you unscrew it. But this one seems to be coming apart pretty easily. So I'm going to open it up, maybe a little bit more. Okay, and it's going to start kind of falling apart. So the little toggle that turns it on and off is the first thing to fall off, and you don't need that, so we can throw that out. This is the battery pack holder that holds the batteries in, and this is what we're really interested in, is this motor. The motor is attached to the fan, so you're going to have to pull those apart, and it is not super easy. But try to do it gently because we're going to use this again. So you can throw this in your bag, we'll use it next week. This part we don't need, so you can toss that. All right, now you'll notice that your battery is attached to this metal tab inside the battery pack. Not your battery, your motor is attached to this metal tab inside the battery pack. What we're going to do is just cut that in half. We want to have this tab remain inside the battery pack, and we want to have this one not break off the tab. Here's one thing about your motor that I want you to notice, and this is going to be important in the next step. You have two little tabs on your motor. These are the places where you're going to attach your alligator clips in the next step. So you would actually attach it right here. You have to be careful because these are really quite delicate. So you can bend it up a little bit if that'll help you attach it. And see, that helps me out. So this one, you're not going to attach it to this wire. We just left it there so we didn't break the tab off. But you're going to attach it to the metal tab. Okay, so that's the first step. The next thing that we need to do is to get our battery pack and our alligator clips hooked up to our motor so that we can complete our circuit and make our robot work. So what we're going to do is you should have two different colored alligator clips, and you are going to attach them to the base of your motor. This motor is slightly different than the one that you guys are using, but it's the same principle. There's metal tabs at the bottom of the motor. You are going to attach one of your alligator clips to each of those metal tabs. And if you did the previous step correctly and your tabs are up, it'll be a lot easier than what I'm trying to do here. Okay, so now we have electrical wires running from one end of our motor to the other end, and now we're going to put the rest of it together by connecting our electrical wires to our batteries. So right now you don't have any batteries in here. You'll notice that there's a metal tab. We're going to connect one of your alligator clips to that metal tab. And we're going to connect the other alligator clip to this small metal tab here. So once we put the batteries in, then our circuit will be complete. So I'm going to pop my batteries in here. You know, the flat side goes towards the spring. And it should work, but it's not. Okay, let's go. There we go. So my, oops, let me take this part. My cork got stuck on the eyeball that I have here. So that's just what happened. I'm gonna pull my cork out a little bit so that doesn't happen again. And I'm there you go. Okay, if you wanted to, you could get a bit of hot glue and just glue your battery pack on, or you could even tape it on. That's probably a good idea. That way you don't have to hold it. And you're all set. Just let it dry there. All right. Okay, let's give it a try and see what we can do. The first step to building our art robot is going to be to take our motor and attach our cork to the shaft in the motor. Now, if you attach it in the middle, your robot's not going to be able to wiggle. So what you want to do is go towards the top of your cork, and you're just going to press the shaft into the cork. Now you might need a little help from your grown-up, and that's okay. So once you do that, we're going to take it and we're going to glue it to the edge of our cup. So take a little bit of hot glue, and obviously it's hot, so be cautious. And you want to glue it to the edge of the cup so that the cork can spin freely. Next, we want to attach our markers. So tips for attaching the markers are, you want to make sure that when you attach the marker, it doesn't interfere with the cork, because in order to make our robot move, we need the cork to be able to move. So if you put your marker up here, the cork won't be able to spin. So they need to be lower. The other tip is, we are going to eventually, after we've made the entire robot, take the tips off and let our robot move around and color on something. So in order to do that, you have to make sure the bottom, the tip that writes of the marker, is below the bottom edge of the cup. So if you were to, for example, tape it up here, once you took off the lid, your robot isn't going to write anything. Okay, so you're going to need 4 markers and 4 pieces of packaging tape. Now you might be tempted to just take a long strip of the tape and stick the markers on and wrap it all in one step. Unfortunately, this isn't going to work out for us, and your markers will slide right off. So we're going to tape one at a time, making certain that the tip of our marker is below the edge of the cup. You want them about the same length off the edge of the cup. You know, you don't want one like this and one like this. But if there's a little variation, that's good, because that's going to make your robot move in a different way. So I'll do one marker at a time. So you're going to put it on the marker and then on the cup. Now some markers have this really nice little squiggle here. I think that's Crayola that does that. I don't know. Oh, RoseArt has it too. They have that line, and that would be a good line to line up with the bottom of your cup. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and fast forward this step, and so you can see how it's done without having to listen. So at this point, now the body of our robot is finished. If you find that your robot is not standing up as nicely as you thought it would, you could either tape an extra marker on there to help balance it out, or a popsicle stick or something would work fine too. we are going to set this part of our robot aside for the moment, and we are going to work on the battery. Now, if you wanted to be super fancy, you could go to Radio Shack or American Science Surplus Store and get these battery pack holders, and it actually makes this portion of the robot quite simple to complete. However, we are going to do it a different way. Prior to coming to class, I took an alligator clip lead and I snipped them in half right here, and then I stripped the end. So what you're going to have is an exposed wire covered by this rubbery stuff. So here's your exposed wire, and what you're going to do is make a little bit of a loop. That's just going to make it easier to attach to our battery. So I'm going to do that to both of mine. Now, it doesn't matter what color alligator clip wires you have. Any color will work fine. Now, our next step is we are going to tape the wire to the metal part of the battery. If you tape it here, this is insulated and your current isn't going to flow. You need to tape it to this portion of the battery, right there. Now, you could use electrical tape. That would probably be a really good choice. I'm going to use Scotch tape so you can see what's going on. So I'm going to take it, and it doesn't matter which end of the battery either. I'm going to take it and I'm going to tape it. Now, we want to tape it really securely right on that exposed metal portion of the battery. We want to make sure it's really in there. Okay, and I'm going to kind of rub it. Now, this is kind of a team thing. So you're going to need to find the person that's sitting next to you, and you're going to need to help them tape theirs on, and then you can, then they can help you. So then I'm going to do the same thing to the other side of my battery. Now remember, once you connect a wire from this side of the battery to this side of the battery, you have current. And it could short circuit your battery if you were to do something like this, or if you were to do this and touch the tips together. We don't want our electricity to flow that way. We want it to go through the motor. So I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I've made my loop right there. Can you see that? And then I'm going to tape it right there. And this would be extremely helpful if I had a buddy, but I don't. So I'm going to do it myself here. So I'm going to tape that on. Ooh. The positive side's a little trickier because it has that knob right there. Okay. So I'm going to make sure it's very secure. And you know what? I'm just going to throw an extra piece of tape on that side because I don't think it got taped down very well. Okay. So now remember, electricity is flowing. You do not want these tips to touch. Keep them spread far apart. Now the last step, the final step, is to attach our batteries to our robot. So we'll bring the robot back, and you can see at the top of the motor there are these two metal pieces that come out of the motor. This is what we are going to attach our alligator clips to. So I'm going to go ahead and put one side on. Now I want to be careful that when I attach it, these metal parts right here don't touch because that's going to create a short circuit. So what I'm going to do, at least on one of them, is try to get this plastic cover over it, and that'll help protect it. So I'm going to attach this one here, and push that on a little bit more. And then I'm going to attach this one here, and hopefully my robot works. So since I know that it's working now, I'm going to just take it apart, take this off. And to make my life simpler, I'm going to go ahead and tape the battery onto a cup. I think I'll use packaging tape. You could try Scotch tape, that would work too. All right, so I'm going to tape this here. Make sure it's nice and tight on there, and then I'm going to attach this again. Now you'll see I do have current running here, or power, electricity running through here, but this isn't moving, and it's because it's so heavy. Sometimes you have to flip it up to get it to go. All right, and now of course, that I've got it going. Of course, the last and most important step of your art robot is to take these off and give it a try on a large sheet of paper. So I'm going to do that next.